Today we're going to do something a little bit different. Me and Nick have been summer's right around the corner. We've been feeling like doing a transformation, and I always like to get all of my clients involved, but now we have this platform where we can try and help and get everybody involved. So we're going to go through our transformation process on how we get set up on this podcast. So talking about what our current weight is, what our goals are, how we map out our goals. And I know me and him both like to take a transformation journey out. It's not just about like what your overall physique looks like, it's how you can grow during that process as well. So I always like to throw in a bunch of like streaks or goals that I do that are completely outside of fitness that just help me be more anchored in like my life and grow in certain areas that maybe I feel like I'm lacking in the moment and all those sorts of things. Fitness is like a great avenue to be able to grow everything around your life instead of just being like, it's not just about what you look like in the mirror. And that's really important. And that's something that's like every time that I've ever done a bodybuilding show or anything like that, everything in my life gets significantly better because of how structured everything becomes.
Yeah.
And then you just feel better. You just feel disciplined. Like I feel like I'm lacking a little, even I'm pretty disciplined as a human being. I'm lacking discipline right now in my life.
Well, I feel like, actually, I think this is an interesting perspective because sometimes I feel like we might be lacking discipline when it's more of just kind of reprioritizing the discipline that we might be implementing at the time. Because like right now we've been really focused on executing a lot of this stuff for our business, for our podcast, for all of you. And sometimes it can be pretty easy to get so caught up in all of that that you kind of forget some of the other things that you used to implement or you want to implement. And this is just a great opportunity to kind of reprioritize where we want to be able to dedicate time, energy, and effort towards our various goals.
Yeah. Yep. So I want to go through that and kind of lay out what our goals would be. So we just weighed ourselves.
Yeah.
And I'm 258 pounds on the dot, which is about 20 pounds away from like my highest weight ever. And I don't hate how I look right now, which is fantastic because I'm not as like muscular as I was back then. But I've obviously gained a significant amount of muscle over the last year or so, which is really nice. And only working out bands.
We're going into the 4th month, so 3 months basically.
Yeah. I haven't touched a weight other than like showing a client how to do a certain movement, like for one rep, which has been challenging. But also I've been going through the motions too, so like this will get me to like even lift harder with the weights.
Yeah,
like I'm
being more intentional and
it's just been around golf, so it hasn't been around like how I look at all. So like I've been just training for golf, so getting a ton of results in that way. But like I'm just not. I could lose like 20 to 30 pounds, I think. So my goal, weight wise, over the next 12 weeks is going to be to get to 240 pounds. So 18 pounds in 12 weeks. Nice.
Okay. Done.
It'll be 10 in the first week, and then the rest of the 8 I'll have to fight for. Is that usually how it works for me? So do that. So, yep. So weight loss will be the goal, and the number on the scale is just like a guider for me. I'm a big mirror person, so however I see, like I'll go off of pictures before I'll go off of weighing myself because my body is stubborn when it comes to weight. So a lot of times like the number won't move on a scale for me, but I'll be able to see the physical changes because my body doesn't want to change. So it'll end up holding on to water even though I'm getting leaner until a certain point where I'll just drop 15 pounds in like a day and then I'll be shredded.
I feel like this is something most people struggle with when it comes to weight loss or really any weight journey, whether it's weight gain, weight loss, around the scale and the numbers, and they're so fixated on what the scale says. And I think it's
a mind fuck. For lack of a better term, I don't weigh myself a lot because like you get super discouraged over time. And like I've learned this about myself because I've done the transformation every year for the last 12 years. So like now I just know that's how my body works. But like the first times you're just like, it would almost push you to start like binge eating or eating worse because you were so discouraged that you're doing everything right and the weight doesn't change.
It's like
But it is.
Yeah, and like so typically what I've seen with athletes when we would track macros and weight, what we would do is Mondays and Thursday mornings, right when they would wake up, I'd have them weigh themselves, and I would tell them we're not tracking what Monday to Thursday looks like. We're tracking Monday to Monday and Thursday to Thursday, because it gives you a span of time where these 4 days in your week very consistent, and these other days can be variable based on whether you're traveling, you're vacationing, you're with your family, friends, whatever it might be.
Weekends are just a crapshoot for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Timings are just off. Monday through Friday, it's super easy to be like in a routine because most people have a day job. Most people have a set routine that they have to stick to during those 4 days. And then now you don't have that thing that's holding you in one place. So like food's different times, water's different times, you're traveling, drinking.
The types of food, which
drinking
changes
happens,
your
you're going out
weight
to
retention.
eat.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's where I tell them, it's like, don't focus on what each numbers say. We're gonna look at this more week after week and see what the typical progressions are looking like. And if they're tracking a little bit more longer term, after 3-4 weeks, I tell them, it's like, first we're focusing on how you're feeling, because all these changes are more on an intracellular level first. Usually those first 4 weeks, a lot of changes you don't necessarily see right away, and you're expecting to see the scale change. Well, especially when you're adding weight training and you haven't really done it before, it's been a while, your body is going to respond favorably, and it's going to hold more muscle glycogen, which is going to hold more water. So the weight's not necessarily going to change as much as quickly, typically, and that usually will immediately switch going into that latter month.
Yeah, and like, I don't know, if you've lifted a lot in the past and maybe aren't hitting it as hard as you used to, or if you're like me and I'm not very consistent with my diet all the time outside of it, it's just not my entire life. Fitness isn't my entire life. So like in the off season,
so he's fitting this into your life.
Exactly. So it's like I'm not like super regimented with my food all of the time outside of it, and I might not hit my protein every day. I might be losing muscle because of that. Whenever I start one of these strict regimens again, my weight might jump up because I put my muscle that I've had in the past back while I'm doing this, and that's not physiologically supposed to happen, but it happens for pretty much everybody. You get at the beginning of like a new strictness, or like I start pushing the weight super hard or pushing the band super hard, I'm gonna put on muscle again.